back in the game, man. Once again.
Yes, sir.
You know, no pressure, no diamonds. We're here, Alex Rose and my good friend
Thomas Solano.
We are here once again. So, man, like this has been a very interesting start to the year.
Yeah,
to say the least, man.
Yeah,
it's been a really interesting start to the year, man. Like, especially just all the stuff that's going on in the world has been very, very interesting. Like, you know, we got some interesting things happening. We got people climbing up walls and going crazy,
storming the Capitol. Right? I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. I know what's going on. I don't want to sound ignorant or anything, but it's not my focus.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about that a little bit, man. Like, how do we stay focused through all the? Isn't it crazy? As soon as you know, a new year, new hopes, new focus, or you know, a more focus, I guess. And then it's like out of nowhere, it's almost like it's what do they call it? I've heard we call it a plandemic. Right?
Yeah. You know what it is, dude, is, I mean, not to get all deep and stuff, but I think it's more than anything, it's a test for people, right? It's a test of will and fortitude. Like, how serious were you about this being a way better year, right? And it's like, things are happening to, you know what I mean? To see like, hey, maybe it's trying to pull you back, you know? Maybe that world sometimes plays the crab in the bucket thing. Like, we're not letting you go that easy, you know? And here's this distraction, and here's that distraction, and here's this tragedy, and there's that tragedy. And, you know, a lot of us get emotionally fueled by stuff that's completely out of our control. And then maybe even sometimes doesn't even necessarily directly affect us, but there's an expectation for it to. And we, you know, most people allow it, dude. And that's part of the reason my wife and I, and our kids included, like, we don't allow them to watch TV or any of those, I don't know, news especially. We don't watch the news. And again, it's not to sound ignorant. I know that there's things going on. I'll catch piece here and I'll catch piece there, but I'm not sitting in front of the news for 2, 3, 4 hours. You know what I mean? Just to hear the same thing over and over. You think about that. Like, you hear the same thing over and over. What is it? It's programming, right? Why is TV called programs? You ever thought of it? I'm going down a rabbit hole. Let's go.
He's trying to get into it deep early.
TV programming, right? They don't let it. Hey, guard what you let come in. That's all I'm saying.
Man, back to regularly scheduled
program.
Hey, that's the truth, man. That was a test for y'all, by the way, man. Just to see what y'all was thinking out there in this world, man. But you know, that's a very good point. And I believe, you know, some of the most successful people, I'm sure, you know, that we both know, that definitely know, is they're aware of what's going on, but they don't let that change their focus or what's important to them.
Right.
You know, they are their own rudder of their own ship. They don't let somebody else take the wheel on those things. But yeah, it is very real interesting. You know, it's interesting to see how people react, and you know how, like, I was like people like they feeling so down there, like, man, I can't even go to work. I can't even work because of what's happening in this world right now. So it's like, because what's happening in the world, they stop doing things to push them forward, you know, so they bite themselves in the butt even more, you know, which is really, really interesting to me. But yeah, I think, you know, it just, for some reason, I just thought about that, man. But we had some pretty good discoveries happen. So what are some discoveries you had about yourself this week, man? What are some things that's been positive for you?
Oh, man, every day's been positive, dude, honestly. Discoveries. You know what I decided to do, and I think I maybe mentioned this in the last podcast, but to keep a focus on what the plan for this year was going to be and what I was going to utilize, which was a business plan and a calendar. And so, one of the discoveries, and it's not a new discovery. I just rediscovered that I am very unstructured, and it is hard work to organize yourself and plan out your day and have an objective for the day to, hit those targets and stuff. So, again, it's something that I've known has been a hole for me. But what I have discovered is when I do utilize it, and I've got an incredible partner. My wife is she's dope, man. And she's constantly reminding me, and it's gotten to the point, Alex, where she's not like, hey, make sure you put that in the calendar. She'll just go and grab the calendar and open it up to the page and like put the pencil down in front of me. So she's not telling me anything because I think she discovered that I don't like to be told stuff. You know what I mean? But she is making things that I need to do a little more accessible. And I guess that was a discovery, right? Like make the things that you're trying to cut out a little less accessible, like create some friction when it comes to those vices. Like like if you watch TV and kill time in front of the television, but you also have like business goals, you should probably take the batteries out of the remote and put the remote under the couch. You know what I mean? And create a little bit of friction, you know what I mean? And not make it so easily accessible. And so,
that's a good point.
What my wife has done is she's, without telling me again, she's just made some things accessible to me and some other things less accessible. That's been good so far at the beginning of this year.
It's like tossing out bad food in the fridge, man.
Yeah, great point. It's very, very similar.
Man, that's interesting, man. How many of y'all willing to throw the, lose the batteries? You might have to tell your spouse to randomly do it for you or something like that.
Well, we've had mentors that are like, we went 5 years without TV. Like we unplugged the TV, put it in the garage, and found something useful or beneficial to fill that time. Like I had an appointment the other day with a couple, and they're like, we can't meet at 7 because Jeopardy's on. So we met at 8, right? And I should have challenged them a little more, but this was the first time I was going to meet with them, so I didn't. But we met at 8 because Jeopardy was from 7 to 8, so they had to get their Jeopardy fix in. And I don't know, maybe it's the one time of the week that they do something like that as a family. So I wasn't judging, but I was judging. I wasn't judging to them, but yeah, there was some judgment there. Like, come on, dude, like this Jeopardy is important. Yeah, out of all things, Jeopardy, dude, at least watch some Cobra Kai or something. You know what I mean? I'm kidding.
Man, hey, yeah, man, that's big talk right there, man. I fell into those traps, man, for multiple times. So many times. It's like, you know what? Let me just look. I'll do this a little later. Let me just relax for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I blink and it's like 5 hours just went by, dude. And it's like, whoa, man. It's just like, wow, whatever. How fast time flies when you're just, it flies both ways, right? It flies when you're not being productive and you blink and then things, you probably should have been doing stuff, or you just got busy work, or you got put yourself down with a whole bunch of busy work that wasn't necessarily productive work. Or when you are actually doing things and you're busy and you're doing productive things, that actually helps time fly as well. It's just like you said, create friction for the things that, I'm about to write that down.
Check this out, man. I just had a thought because you used the word busy. And I was listening to another podcast before in the 5-minute drive coming over here, right? So there's a little nugget for you. I don't listen to Pandora and music. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. It's literally 5 minutes for me to get from my place here to yours. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to a podcast in that little way over here in those 5 minutes. And they were talking about how we glorify busyness. Mm. And there was a study done. Check this out, bro. Like, it's interesting that you brought that word up. And I was just listening to this. There was a study done about the stress levels increasing when people are quote unquote busy. and they say like, hey, when you ask people how their day was, usually the first response, oh, I was so busy. It was so busy. I was busy doing this, right? Like it's a good thing almost. Like people associate busyness with productivity. But that's not necessarily true, because you said we can get caught up in busyness and not get anything done, right? But the study basically concluded, Alex, that focused tasks, like a focused approach to tasks, actually doesn't make you feel busy and doesn't create stress. Having that focus, even if there's more that you get done, it actually creates fulfillment versus just being busy and doing stuff, right? So I don't know. There's not a point I'm trying to make except for that, to focus, and start, focus on those check marks that you're trying to accomplish versus just being busy with stuff.
Yeah. If he hit you, it didn't mean to miss you.
It hit me. It hit me on the way over. I was like, ooh. Yeah,
yo, that's nuts, dude. That's big, man. I know for a fact, man, this happened to me yesterday. Like and I think a lot of times make myself busy for procrastinating and putting things off, and you got to get it done, and then all of a sudden you cram all these things in that you really could have already had done.
Yeah.
And then you're drowsy and you're like, oh man, what did I do to myself? But man, being busy, oh man, I'm always busy work, filling out paperwork, things that could be considered just busy things. So some things that could be considered just busy things are things you could probably do when you're like not during quote unquote working hours. Like if you're a business owner, there's like certain things you can do off the clock.
Yeah.
That don't necessarily, that are important for your business, but don't necessarily drive productivity. Right. So in our field, there's like certain things like paperwork that you really could be doing at like after 9, 10 o'clock that you can actually be getting done, that don't take away from you actually do business, that push your business forward, like creating different type of business activities.
Yep.
Right. I've gotten caught in that trap too. Middle of the day, doing paperwork.
Checking emails. Whatever.
You're flying through the email, click on one thing. Not even busy work, but you get caught doing one thing. Like YouTube is like one of those like never ending
rabbit
pits.
Holes. Yeah.
Rabbit holes, man, that can be a real time stealer.
Yep.
And life stealer. Right? I can't even say how many times this happened to me. I'll just be over. That's happened to me probably hundreds of times, where you get caught watching one YouTube video, then the next one, then the next one, the next one, next one, and all of a sudden 3 hours later, what was I supposed to be doing?
What did I come on here for? Actually, right? Like you might have YouTube something to help you with this.
Social media too.
Yeah.
Right. Now I was just listening to a podcast earlier about how to if you're going to be on social media, utilize it to push your, if you are a business person, to push your business forward.
Yeah. And
utilize it, but have only specific times that you're doing it. Right? Be specific with your time and kind of schedule your time in. But that's huge, man. Just wow. Fulfillment, dude. Fulfillment. And almost it's like keeping a promise to yourself, man. Like you said, you're going to do this thing, you do it, and it was productive.
Yep.
And you did it, you feel really good.
Yeah.
You feel really good, man. And that helps you stay on task.
I think it's more of a win, bro. Yeah. Like when you're focused on something, I mean, you think about that, like we use exercise and fitness a lot of the times, which is another goal of mine this year to get to a healthier weight. But just using that, like when the focus is exact, like I'm going to lose 5 pounds this month, right? Whatever that goal is, but that's your primary focus. Like, how big of a win is that when you actually do it versus oh, I want to work out, 3 times a week, and just very vague and stuff. And there's no real focus, and you can justify 10 push-ups as a workout, and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of people do. There's really nothing. I don't know. There's no sense of victory, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And and I think people justify their busyness to look and sound productive, but when it's all said and done, if you haven't completely completed the task at hand, which I struggle with like for years, dude, it's probably, I could safely say, probably one of my wife's biggest frustrations with me. There's times where she'll get home and she's been gone for a few hours doing the shopping or whatever she does, and she's like, "So what's going on? What'd you do?" And I'm like, like I wiped the counter, I took the trash out, I took the dog to go to the bathroom, we walked a little, I did a few push-ups, I made the kids lunch, right? And I like do this list of things. And really what she's asking is like, what'd you get done for our business? And the answer is nothing. But I'll like rattle off all of this busy work, right? Just to get a little approval and get her off my back. Like, oh my God, I seen this, and then this drove me crazy. Like, oh dude, it's so funny. Right? Like human nature is funny. The mind is a trip, and we can.
And we know what they asking, bro. That's the funny part. We know
Yeah.
we know what
Oh,
they
a
asking.
master of avoidance, dude. Like,
It's like, man, if I start with I took a walk and did all this. If I ain't about to say, I booked 50. I gotta do client because I would have started off with that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
Bro, but think about that. How fulfilled would you have been if you just did like that one thing or two things that was a focused goal towards building, your future, your legacy, or you know what I mean, whatever that goal may be for that day, that week, that month. Like you said, you would have started off with that. If you had just focused on that, because that's the ultimate goal, and you would have done it, it would have been the biggest thing.
Man, focused effort, man.
But we don't, right? We're like, oh, we sent a few messages, we vacuumed. I try to list all of the things that I know she would want me to do, like for her, right? Because her love language is acts of service. So I'll usually say like, oh, I washed the dishes, I wiped the counter, I took out the trash, I vacuumed, I cleaned our bathroom, and this and that, and
Soften that blow a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I buy myself a little bit of brownie points or
Put a
credit
little
or
sugar on that. Put a little sugar on that.
But I know behind the scenes she's thinking like, man, like just get done what you got to get done. Right?
Like I don't like low key. It's almost like I care about all that other stuff. But I really don't care about all that other stuff because we really need to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I know. And then what happens is, or at least what's happened with myself, and I'm like, oh, I know. And then I beat myself up like, damn.
I'm sounding like a punk right now, by the
You
way.
know. But bro, like, hey, it's real life, man. It's real life. That happens day on it. That happens.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens to a lot of folks out there, man. So it's just come to that realization. And what it kind of leads into is it's like, wake up is like, how does that help measure like your hunger level? You know what I mean? At that, when you're like, all right, well, like it's, and how, so we had a conversation the other day or a couple days ago about, are you hungry or not? Like, are you, I know you desire, you want to do these things. You feel like you want to do these things. You have the desire to want to do these things. But how hungry are you to get them done right now?
Yeah. Are you snacking or are you feasting?
Man, right? So how hungry are you to get these things done right now? And the question was posed to me, and I was like, well, you can tell how hungry somebody is by how fast they act.
Mm-hmm.
That first action they take is the level of hunger. This person's hungry. Their consistency is how they manage. It's really up to them. Is how consistent they are and how they press down on that pedal. And we had a conversation. It was like, well, who would you consider to be like, if here's a 1 and here's a 10, who would you consider to be like a level 10 of hunger? Like, so give me your example. Like, who do you feel would be like a level 10 on the hunger scale?
I'm a big sports fan, and so I'm gonna when I think of just hunger slash desire, like that's what I think of when I think of that. I think of Kobe Bryant, man, rest in peace, the Mamba. That's what I think of. Like I read an article once where like after his first championship ring, like he got his ring and there was really minimal celebration. Like this dude got the ring, opened it up. I don't even think he put it on, but maybe he did. I couldn't maybe not be remembering that correctly, but took it off and put it away in the safe. And they asked him like, man, did you actually enjoy it? He was like, yeah, in that moment, but then it was about the next one. I wanted to go back to back, and then we wanted a three-peat. There was no real time to celebrate. It was like, let's get back to the board because now we got a target on our back, you know? And when I think of hunger and desire, it's usually it's those people. Sports is a great example because those repeat champions, those people. Michael Phelps is probably another guy, right? Like the winningest Olympic gold medalist. Just there's no real satisfaction, I guess, that's ever acquired. So it's easy for me to use that as an example or as a measuring stick, just because I'm a big sports fan. But in the business world, you would probably think of guys like or people like Ed Milet and maybe like a Grant Cardone or a Gary Vee and those types of guys where they have from the outside looking in, they have all the success probably that they have plenty of success, you know what I mean, both financially and in other areas they've had successful things happen, but they're just not satisfied yet. Like they're not ready to check out, and they've got more to give and more to offer. And I think they, what they have that most people don't is they continue to push the goal a little bit farther back. Like, and so they maybe a goal they accomplish, it's a goal leading up to it, but once they're there, it's just a mile marker for the next thing. You know what I mean? And so, anybody who's willing to do that, and there's probably kids out there that do that and stuff. But anybody that does that would be like my ideal or my definition of somebody who's hungry and driven. Man,
that's huge, man. Kobe, I definitely can relate to that 1,000%. I think whenever I was having that conversation, I think I brought up Michael Jordan, his hunger level, and how his hunger raised the identity of the people. He was so hungry it raised the identity of the people around him because he just wasn't accepting any average work. It was like everybody noticed he stayed the longest and he worked the hardest. So they were like, well, shoot, if he's working the hardest, if he's in here working like this and he's going and he's the best one, I have no excuse. I can't bring any nonsense to the table. I gotta come here and give my best effort and compete. And if I don't compete, well, I guess I'm out of here. There was on The Last Dance, that movie or the documentary or whatnot. And when he first got to the Bulls, he was talking about, I need to find who the leader is of this team, and I need to challenge that person.
Alpha.
He's like, he went right for that. That was it. He went right for it. And that was just something that was so interesting to me. I was like, man, how many people walk into a room and they look for the most dominant figure in the room, and they're like, I need to either speak to that person, talk to that person. Me and that person need to conversate. Maybe not. I need to dominate that person in the room because there's different aspects of different things. But that's But Michael Jordan,
at the minimum, size them up, probably. You know what I mean? And measuring stick, right? If you're using the best person as a measuring stick, you got some hunger and you got some drive.
Man, that was huge. And then one of the people in the business world I think of is Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah,
somebody that's literally at the top of his game. But what was it? I think it was I was watching something either, I don't forget, it was on Instagram or YouTube or one of those things. I think it was on Instagram. Forget the gentleman's name, but it was somebody that knew Jeff Bezos like 30 years ago. And Jeff Bezos was talking about, I have this website, I'm going to sell books online. And the guy was like, really? Like, all right, well, there's bookstores, dude. Like, what do you need to sell books online for? He's like, hey, I'm going to do it through the internet. Get them all over the world. and I'm going to be worth $100 billion one day. I'm going to be the richest man in the world. He said that to the guy, and the guy was like, dude, there's not even $100 billion in the world right now as it sits. How are you going to be worth 100? All right, whatever. Boom, wrote it off. Right? I think they know each other to this day. But, man, was he wrong, right? But Jeff Bezos said it with such confidence and that was his truth. That was what he was going to do. And to this day, there's no satisfaction because his goal isn't for Amazon or from what one of his, from what talk that I heard him say, he was talking about Sony and the founder of Sony or the CEO, the creator of Sony, the company, paraphrasing, but he was basically, his goal wasn't for Sony to be the best company in the world. It was for Japan to produce the best products in the world, right? For Japan to be at the top echelon, for his country to be at the top echelon, right, of creating something, not just his business. Bigger picture. Everybody would have probably thought, well, yeah, this guy probably wants, wants Sony to be the best. That's why Sony's probably one of the best companies, because the guy wants Sony to be the best. No, he wants his country to be seen as they produce the best. So just that framework, and that's what Jeff Bezos had that conversation, and that's what he sees himself. He's not worried about Amazon being the best. He's worried about making the world a better place. He's worried about getting off the planet and going to Mars and going to Jupiter. He's like, hey, how do we get to these other places in the universe? So it's an interesting perspective when you see people thinking so big, and it's just like, well, shoot, if these people are thinking big, it takes the same amount of energy to think big as it does to think small. To have a small, terrible thought, it takes the same amount of energy to have a big, audacious, crazy, quote unquote crazy thought, maybe to somebody else. Yeah. So why not have a big goal then? Why not have a huge goal?
Well, bro, first of all, you said 30 years ago, this dude had this conversation with Jeff Bezos, and in my mind for a second, I was like, 30 years ago, Amazon just started in 1991, I think, and I was like, damn, that was 30 years ago, dude. Bro, I'm older than you, so I felt that one. That hit me a little bit different. But man, what a stick to itness, right? Like that dude had for his closest friend to be like, there's not even that much money in the world. Immediately he could have scaled his dream back, right? He could have chose to be like, dang, I didn't realize there wasn't that much money in the world. And maybe he could have done some research and found at that point, that was true. And he could have said, well, maybe not 100 billion, maybe 50 billion or, something like that. But he didn't. He said, that's all I know is that's going to happen. And it took 30 years for that to happen. Well, some people can't even stick to a New Year's resolution for 2 weeks, right? The gyms are packed from January 1st through January 14th, and then the 15th, it's a ghost town. And this dude stuck to his goal for 30 years.
Stay excited till the job gets done. Is that what they say, bro?
Hey,
man,
bro, that hit me because I struggle with the same thing, and that's where mindset and bigger vision and clarity, some of the things that we've talked about before on here, that that's why they're so huge. It's not just this little, it's not rah or fluff or it's proven time and time again. There's a million stories if you look at people that built stuff like Henry Ford and the 8-cylinder engine and stuff, right? He was told 1,000 times it was impossible, and he's like, figure it out, we're gonna figure it out. And that's what it is, the light bulb. And you can go back in history and look at it, and it's just this doing it till the job gets done, you said. Great point.
Stay excited until the job. Shoot, it's staying excited. The whole, I think your mentor was like, you know what? I've never hit a goal, but I always hit my goals. So it's like, maybe it might not be the date that you set out for it to be on, but if you stick to it, you're going to hit it regardless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. It's, I've never actually hit my target, but I always hit the goal. because I stick to it until the job gets done. And it's the staying excited part. Even past failure, past setbacks, it's okay. Hey, we don't lose, we just learn type thing.
Yeah.
And, if we can just keep that type of thinking process around us all the time, and keep people around us that are further than us, that can stretch our thinking and keep us in a it's not up to them to keep us in a certain state of mind. It's up to them it's up to us to help them, to check us, to allow them to check us and keep us from thinking small, right? So we do have some self-doubt. It's like, bro, what the hell? Like, they don't allow you to be around them thinking small.
Right.
So they'll check you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're like, yeah, man, I feel like we can do, such and such amount of revenue this year. And they're like, bro, but based on how I feel like you are, you should be able to do that before June. Like, why not June? Like, you're you're this or that. Like, why not before June? Like, you have the total capacity. Like, why not? And I was like,
why you selling yourself short, huh?
They said it with that. They're like, why not? Like, I believe you can do that because this is what I know to be true about you. It was actually true stuff. It wasn't BS. It was real things.
Right.
So when you're mentoring somebody, don't give them BS, dude. When you're mentoring somebody, don't give them just standard, because you're just so great. Like, man, get to know the people that you're mentoring. I'm going into a tangent here, but if you are mentoring somebody, get to know the people that you're mentoring, so that when you do pour into them, it's things that are actually true about them, that they know that are true about them. They just probably forgot about it for a second, Yeah. And that saved me, I don't know how many times, from just quitting and just stopping. It's just because
you borrowed somebody else's belief, bro.
Man, I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Yeah.
Can I hold on to that belief real quick?
Human nature needs that, bro. Like, people just in general need that, right? Like, as a father, I see that both of my kids need that constantly, right? Like, people need to be poured into.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just programming. It's the way we were wired. When you understand, man, I forgot the book I was reading, but it talks a lot about like the way the human brain has been programmed and wired, and it's programmed and wired for survival. And so fear, the brain looks at fear as like a warning, you know what I mean? And I posted something the other day, and it was from a pastor I heard, actually, and he said, if you live in a habitat of fear long enough, you'll seek it out. And I had to listen to it 3 times, and then I thought about it, and I was like, man, how many times do people seek out what will go wrong and have that be the reason that they shouldn't do something? You know what I mean? And that fear is crazy, because again, that's what our brain is designed to do. It's designed to like help us survive. Yeah. And so you need an outside perspective. You need coach. You need to borrow other people's belief, because left to, our own thoughts, most people will shut down and kind of confirm their fears. And 90+% of the time, probably that stuff will never happen. Right? Like, it never happened. Every time I've jumped on a roller coaster, man, my fear has always been like, I'm going to fly off this sucker. You know what I mean? I've been on thousands of roller coasters. It's never happened. But for the first couple of years, I avoided them at all costs. Man. Until I was like 12. And I think at 12 or 13, I finally got on my first roller coaster. And it was because I went to Magic Mountain with my girlfriend at the time, and she loved roller coasters, bro.
Oh,
you
couldn't let that.
I couldn't look like a punk, right? And I was terrified, bro. Like, terrified. And you know what I did, man? When I came off of it, I loved it. It was exhilarating.
You was out there. You was out there at 13, dog. You had a little girlfriend at 13, dog. Okay, I see.
My mom was cool, man. She used to, she would drive and drop us off and stuff. She didn't let no girl spend the night. She wasn't that cool or nothing like that. But she let me, build relationships, and she always gave me those lessons too. Hey, this is how you treat it. Like my dad was real good about that kind of stuff too.
That's what's up.
So I think my mom trusted me, so I'm grateful for that. But
bless up to that, man.
I guess
he's out there at the,
I couldn't be a punk, bro. So I got on that stupid Viper, I think it was, bro.
You know what that was, bro? Viper, bro. Man, I can't wait till they open that stuff back up, man. Come on, hurry up.
I know.
Come on, man. Open some stuff back up for the people, man. We need that. I'm right here.
Right.
But that's huge, man. Like, but you know what that was, man? And same thing happens in business, man. Same thing happens. Like, might have somebody that I can't speak in front of a group. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. And they might be thinking that. They might not even have said it before. But then they might, you put them up in front of 5-10 people. I think I remember so vividly, man, like the first time I spoke in front of a group. And I was probably like 17 years old, in front of like maybe like 20 people, and had to give like a full talk, and I was like freaking out, but I was a calm, cool, collected person to everybody else, and I was like, dude, I can't let these people see me freaking out. I just gotta get it together, man. It was oh my gosh, it was one of those communication classes in college. And you had to do like a speech and put a speech together. I didn't even know we had to do that stuff. I just took it because it was on the ledger for classes. I had to fill credits up.
Had you known, would you have taken the class?
Yeah, no, probably not. Nah, probably not. If I knew how to speak in front of people and it was going to be mostly doing that.
Right.
Because it was basically speech. It was like a speech class, basically. And I was like, yo, this is nuts. But I couldn't because I was more calm, cool, collected. I'm not going to say I was a cool guy in the class, but I was just like, oh, just a calm person. Funny, joking around all the time. So for that to be the image that I portray, I didn't really recognize. Now hindsight's 2020.
You got to put the rest of that costume on that.
You know what I'm saying? I can't take it off and they be like, what? This dude, you know what I'm saying? I can't do that. So I don't even know what I talked about, but I do remember that after the talk, I don't care if they were lying to me and said it was they were like, man, that was really good. I was like, really? Oh, I guess so. Okay, well, thanks. But that took that's just like but I wanted to do it again right after that. And the good thing is in that class, you had to do it every couple of weeks or every week. But I bet you if it would have been like 6 months until the next talk, I would have felt the exact same way I would have felt the first time I did it.
Yeah.
Because it was too much time in between.
Yeah.
So that could be in so many different things. Is if you break past a certain barrier of fear that you might have, do it again very soon. Very soon. And probably do it as often as you possibly can until it becomes a habit that you don't have that fear. Yeah. But that was one of the things, that was one of the things that was so good about being in physical locations and stuff like that, is because we had the opportunity to do that literally multiple times weekly.
Right.
People to be able to put people up there and stretch them, stretch their own belief about themselves. And it doesn't necessarily matter how they do; it's that they do it.
Yeah. No, hey, spot on, bro. I went from Viper to Ninja to Gold Rush to Colossus. How to remember the exact order.
Colossus, man. Oh, goodness gracious.
I know, bro. Old school. Viper was the newest one at that time.
Man.
13 or 14. Yeah, and you think like that's a dinosaur there now, right? We're talking about Six Flags Magic Mountain. California people know what's up. But, yeah,
plug. It's free tickets.
Hey, we'll take a season pass or two. What's up? Hurricane Harbor, summer's coming up. Holla at your boys.
We gotta get to like 100 subscribers before we can get it.
Yeah, right. Which by the way, man, if you're enjoying the content, do that, man. Subscribe, show some love, show some support. Yeah. You guys got something going on too, and we will reciprocate. I promise.
Tap in.
Yes, sir.
Tap in.
What else, man? What else is popping?
Man, shoot, I think right now it's it's just staying consistent.
Yeah.
Staying consistent.
Second week in January, right? And
That's when people fall off.
Resolutions, right? They're about to be done. People are about to sweep those things under the rug, like we mentioned earlier. So, what would you say if some of the wind has been taken out of the sails, I guess, so to speak, and people are experiencing a little frustration? Is there something that you think they can maybe do to re-energize, refocus? Maybe people are kind of in a little bit of a rut because everything else that it kind of happened at the beginning of this year that you kind of opened up with maybe did impact them. What would you say people need to do to maybe snap out of that or get out of that rut?
Don't stop. Whatever you do, even if you're feeling like you're in a rut, just remember how it felt, and go back to if you have a plan, hopefully you had a plan, right? So first thing, if you don't have a plan, make one, right? And make one that you can get excited about, because I think a lot of folks, they make arbitrary plans, like you say, and they're not specific enough. Make a plan that you can actually get excited about and get behind for yourself, and specificity always helps. Do not stop. So once you have your plan, start immediately and don't stop, right? And probably break big goals. If you have big, vast end of the year type goals that it's going to take you all year to do, there's ways to back engineer those goals to literally weekly or monthly, weekly, daily. So then all you have to do is check off small daily incremental goals. And if you just check off those small ones, then it's going to equal up to those big ones. And if you're in a rut, go back to your plan, and you might need to adjust some things, right? Go back to your plan and adjust those things. Maybe get out of the environment that you're in and go to a different environment. There's a lot of time when it comes to some people they're in a business where they have to call people and talk to people all the time. And sometimes they might be in an environment that isn't conducive for what they want to do. So get out of the environment. I'm not going to say make a bunch of calls while you're driving or anything. Get a Bluetooth, by the way. Be safe, y'all. Maybe drive while you're making calls and be on the Bluetooth or something like that. Maybe go to a park. Go to an outside venue, go somewhere else, get out of the environment, because what it is your environment isn't conducive for your growth. So get out of it as much as you possibly can to help with that. Yeah. Because there is something about being within some walls and no light and whatever's going on. Yeah, for sure. So I feel like those things can really help.
I think so too. I agree, 100%. Especially revisiting the plan, and I love that you mentioned if you didn't have one, you should get one, and scale them down. For me, I relate to that part where you said, hey, like maybe you have a big plan, like an annual plan at the end of the year, but I think you do need to, at least I do need to break those down to like bite-sized pieces, and I can really only focus on like 3 months at a time. And this is something I struggled with the first couple of years, especially in business, where they're like, write down your goals for the year and then read those goals, right? And I was just like, man, these just seem so far away. And it created a lot of doubt and things like that. So figure out what works for you and utilize that. But the other thing I was going to say, and you kind of scratched the surface, I think, a little bit on this, was you got to shock yourself. Like if you're in a rut, you got to shock your system. Yeah. Meaning do something completely out of the norm. Most of the time we fall into a rut because we're doing the same things over and over. Some people would probably refer to it as the comfort zone, right? But you got to shock your system and do something that you've never done before. If it is, contacts in your business or whatever it is, and the most you've ever done is 25 or 30, like you need to do something bananas and reach out to 100 freaking people, whether that's text, email, direct phone call, like FaceTime videos, you know what I mean, social media, whatever, but like
Shake it up.
Yeah, shake it up. I was listening to this and somebody had given that example too. That's like, because again, we will talk ourselves out of situations that we don't think we could accomplish. Like if you wanted to run a marathon, for example, right? Sounds good. Like that'd be quite an accomplishment, I think, for most people. But you sign up for that marathon, let's say, and you make that be step one. Right? Or something. And you sign up for it, but here's the problem. That's not even really shocking your system because you could choose not to go, right? Or you can like unsubscribe or whatever, unenroll or enlist or whatever, for lack of better words. But what would be a shock to the system? A shock to the system would be lacing up your shoes and taking a 5-mile jog right then and there when you start thinking about that marathon, right? Like that's a shock to the system, especially if you've never done that before. Now you're shocking yourself towards that goal versus trying to think about and overplan. I think that's what a lot of people do. So plans are important, but you don't want to overplan because they would think about, most people would think about like, what would be the first step? Maybe I should like start researching the marathons, and maybe I should start researching like coaches, and maybe I'll go on YouTube and look about how to run and the best shoes to wear or this and that. Like, nah, man, throw on your Vans that are uncomfortable or your Converse or whatever. And you know what I mean? Go hit 5 miles. And again, this is something that I'm speaking to myself right now, by the way. But I heard that and I was like, yeah, that to work out of any rut or start really feeling accomplishment, you got to shock yourself into doing stuff you've never done before.
Big facts.
Talk to the most beautiful girl at the bar. Right?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Well, not right now, because, if you're in California, probably not right now. But
if you're the most beautiful girl at the bar, don't talk to me now. Happily married.
Man, dude,
but I know some friends.
Got some referrals for you. Man, like, I think that's huge, man. Action. Immediate action.
Yep.
Immediate crazy action.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it
uncomfortable action.
Can't be anything you've ever done before. That's a big deal. Do something you haven't done before. Stretch yourself out. And then all of a sudden, now that you did that, you've now put yourself in a whole new category for yourself. Right? And try not to compare yourself to what other people are doing. That right there can put people in a rut. Because they're looking at, man, this person is doing this and that, this. Man, I've been doing this since before this person, and now they're way over here. But you don't know what that person already went through
on the back end.
You never know what that person already went through beforehand. Like they're getting their roses right now because they already went through a bunch of stuff or put in a bunch of effort, maybe doing something else, and a lot of other things didn't go right, or they came up a certain type of way, and that's put a different level of thickness on their skin. But guess what? You're going through what you're going through right now because your skin isn't thick enough right now.
Yeah, it's what you need.
Get that medicine, man.
It's what we need.
Yeah, right? Man.
Like everybody needs something at some point.
Hey, man. You gotta take that spoonful of medicine, but we all do. We all do. And the test is now. The test, you are always being tested.
Constantly.
Always. So, man, I think, this was fire, man. Like, this is a really, really, a great thing for people right now. Just don't stop. If you're already being consistent, don't stop. Right? The feeling of, man, I'm feeling good. Nope, you're not feeling good. Hey, you know what? No. Do not take your foot off the pedal. Somebody else is, as you're taking your foot off the pedal, somebody else is putting their foot down harder. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And
momentum is promiscuous, bro.
I got him off the screen.
Hey, she'll leave.
Oh, man, momentum.
I think we mentioned this before.
Yo, that's a fire, bro. What'd you say? Hit him one more.
Momentum is promiscuous.
Oh, man. She'll leave you, bro.
She will leave.
Dirty Diana, man. Gone out of there. Woo! Yeah, that's
Unless you
cold.
treat her right.
You
Unless
know
you
what
treat
I'm
her
saying?
right, and that's continuing to use it.
Man, it said Momentum is promiscuous, bro. She close. Momentum has high standards, man. And if you let off that gas, man, man, this
I'm
person
out.
ain't quitting. I'm going over there with this other person who ain't quitting.
Yep.
That's fire up, man. We might name that. We might title this mug out to that one. That's a big deal. Nah, man, but yo, great. Appreciate you guys taking a listen to today, man, and appreciate it. Just remember to like, comment, subscribe. We really, really do appreciate it as this channel does grow. It's growing organically with you guys. We consider you a part of the No Pressure, No Diamonds family.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So, man, closing out here, man, I'm excited about 2021. I'm excited about this year. And I hope you guys are as well, man. Any closing remarks, man? You want to?
No, I love the like, comment, and subscribe, but I would also take it one step further and just say share it too as well. Share it. The entrepreneurship, it's a movement right now. It's coming back. It has been for the last few years, but it used to be a word that they would use to describe lazy people, and that's not the case anymore. Now there's so many positives attached to that, and it's a community of people that are for the most part like-minded and growing and developing, and that's where we are. We're on a mission right now as well. We're not the authority by any stretch of the imagination, or when it comes to entrepreneurship, and we don't have it all figured out, but we are on a journey, and this stuff is for us, but it's also for you. So if there's anybody that's in the same space that you think would find some value here, yes, like, comment, and share for yourself, or subscribe, but also share it with somebody else. Like Alex said, we're looking to grow organically, and we want, for y'all to come with us, and hopefully at some point maybe have you on as a guest, and share some of your thoughts and stuff. We're going to start opening this up to some people, right?
Yeah, I'm
bringing
excited.
some people on and introducing you to some new faces and some new voices, and new perspectives, I think, most importantly. So that's all I got, man. With that being said, stay hustling, stay grinding, put your head down, keep it moving. Mm-hmm. Keep the pressure on too. Like, seek out some pressure, because we know what happens when pressure is present, right?
Yeah, man.
What is it? Hey, Rose?
Pressure busts pipes, or pressure makes diamonds, man.
No pressure, no diamonds.
Yeah, man. No pressure, no diamonds, man. So appreciate it. Tap in with us. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Yep. Man, no pressure, no diamonds, man. Let's get it.